Welcome to Utah Hustlers, a podcast on how to build your business to $10,000 a month. My name is Skylar Bytendorp, and like you, I'm an entrepreneur. And it's my mission to help you achieve success, happiness, and freedom on your own terms. Today, we're talking with Levi Culley on how to build a sales funnel. A sales funnel is a process your clients go through until they become a paying customer. Levi starts with the basics on keeping the top of your sales funnel as wide as possible, giving nearly a dozen suggestions on where you can advertise your business so that more people see what you do. And guess what? Most of them are free. He also gives practical tips on how to sell the people that are coming down your funnel at different stages. Building a sales funnel doesn't need to be a complicated process, and Levi helps keep it simple and effective. To learn about all that and more, stick around for this episode with Levi Culley.
I'm Levi Culley. I'm an entrepreneur, investor. I love charity, nonprofit. At 19 years old, I started a business called Invictus Floor Coatings. We did concrete coatings, epoxy floors, patios, garages, warehouses, everything like that. And that really is the foundation of my business life and my entrepreneurial journey so far. Last week, I sold that company. It was an incredible experience, to say the least. Learned a lot, and I consider that first business as a bachelor's degree. It was 4 years. I went to business school. It was the school of hard knocks, and it was a great experience.
You started a business at 19, you just sold it, and to sell something, there has to be something there that is worth buying, right? So you've been able to build something that's really cool. What do you feel like was the biggest thing that helped you reach that level of success with the business?
That is a great question. As far as growing a business that was worth something to someone, I mean, it's harder than it looks. And you know as well as I do, there is no replacement for hard work, period. Like getting out there and being willing to wear any hat and do anything that needs to happen and cover the bill for any mistake that happens without complaining and being a victim. And you haven't made it till you made it. I'm just a big fan of staying humble, live below your means, work as hard as you possibly can, and pay yourself less than what you think you deserve at the beginning, and let your business take from you until it gives to you freely. Growing the business was harder mentally than it was physically. And I think CEOs and business owners really get that. But I love the fact that it takes a mentally tough person to grow a business. The only things that hit a CEO's desk are the problems. And that's kind of cool because it grows somebody into a person capable to tackle problems all day, every day.
You nailed it right there, where businesses are a lot usually harder on us mentally than physically. I think it's because we get a lot of no's. There's a lot of work that you're not getting paid for. It's not like an hourly job where you put in 10 hours, you get paid for 10 hours. You put in 10 hours in the beginning, you get $0.
Yeah, or negative.
Or negative.
Welcome to IRS.
So yeah, it's rough in the beginning, and something you're really good at is funnels, creating a sales funnel. For anyone that doesn't know what a sales funnel is, if you think of a funnel like you probably have in your kitchen, it's something that just has like a wide opening and then narrows down to where you want it to go, which in this case, we have a wide opening for customers, our big reach out, and we're trying to get them to that point of the money exchange. And so let's start at the very top. Where do we start with creating a funnel?
Yeah, I think you said it best. Best parts of a funnel is to get that top as wide as you possibly can make it, and no kinks or stops in the funnel. Funnels do taper down, but the best funnel is a tube or a pipe, if you can imagine. Just a big old fat pipe, just dumping people down through. So the closer we can get our funnel to like the closing rates up and getting as many leads through as possible, the better. And I want to introduce a dare to everybody listening. I know you guys are all in Utah. I know you're all hustling. I know a lot of us here, if you're around my age, are doing service-based businesses. So next time you're around another business owner, go ahead and ask them, hey, where do you get your leads from? And first of all, that's a question you should be asking every day, everyone that you meet that has a business. I say 9 times out of 10, if you ask somebody that question, they're going to give you 1 or 2 answers. And my golden rule is you cannot have less than 14 lead generators actively working 100% of the time. So sometimes I'll ask a painter, hey, where do you get your work from? And he's like, oh, Dan, the builder gives it to me. And I'm like, okay, cool. So you got like 3 jobs a month or 5 jobs a month? And he's like, yeah, I just wait for Dan to give me work. And although that's a great funnel, there's 13 others that we need to work on. So to start at the top for lead generation, and this is probably my favorite part because as a business owner kind of wearing a lot of hats, this is probably one of the harder things to work on because you get sucked into solving problems and doing the day-to-day work. But here's some of my favorites, and feel free to pause the episode and like write these down if you need to. But always got to be running Google ads, have great SEO on your website. The higher you can get on the search tab on Google is better. Work on your Google My Business. That's the little tab where your business will pop up and it'll say website, directions, and then it'll show your reviews. That Google My Business, you can update it every single day. You can add photos, you can add comments, you can add titles. I think you can even add some like journal entries or something. But the more you're touching it, more you're working on it and editing it, the more you're going to come up in that Google search. Instagram is huge. And when I say huge, I mean huge. That platform alone is built to funnel people to your business. And it is built for entrepreneurs to get business. I just love it, especially here in Utah where we're pretty tight knit and there's some great influencers doing good work out there to push local business out there. Facebook groups, join 100 Facebook groups. And that's not a large number. Join 100 Facebook groups. Lawn Care of America, Utah Hustlers Facebook group. I mean, there's Connect Utah is a huge one. I've gotten a large percentage of my work on leads just through that one alone. And the beauty of groups is they're free. So join 100 groups. You can post to multiple groups. Facebook did an update. You used to have to go into each group and post. Now you can create a post and post it to as many groups as you want. It might stop you at like 20, but you just create another post and do it again.
Copy and paste.
Right. And then Facebook Marketplace, throw yourself up an ad. Throw it in a weird category like rooms for rent or whatever. Obviously tag your category, but get it in other categories where it's popping up for people, places where your competitors are not. If you're trying to sell the older generation, there's a lot of success in mailers. And I would steer away from the magazines and towards the stacks of coupons. People save coupons. They don't clip things out of magazines or they don't keep the magazines. Especially here in Utah, I know a really good one is the Utah Marketplace, I think they call it. Email lists, text lists, KSL classifieds, ads. You can throw up ads on there. They might knock them down if they catch you, but just keep putting them up. Yard signs are always great. Door hangers, knocking, billboards. You can actually get on those digital billboards for a lot cheaper than I thought on I-15 here in Utah, actually.
How much are those?
They sell the space, so it totally depends on how often you want to come on in the rotation. But those electronic billboards, I think you can get in for $1,000 a month. And that is like some reputation. If you're trying to build your brand, those billboards, Utah customers love those things. Like everyone's heard of Mortgage Mike. He's got the ARP, the percentage rate on the mortgages right now, always posted. And I bet you he gets so much business from those. He just keeps adding more billboards. So landing pages, YouTube, podcast, reviews, network meetings, collaborations with local businesses. People want to help you. People want to see you grow. And just check into all of those once a day. I call it my morning calls or my morning check-ins with my lead generators. All of these are automatic. All of them are super free. Like I don't think I've listed one that's super expensive. Most of those are all free. So
I always knew that we're supposed to have a lot of places where we get leads from. But I never put a number on it. But 14, that's how you get business, is having your name in as many places as freaking possible.
Right. People buy on their 7th interaction. Or sorry, they reach out on their 7th interaction. It's like a magic number or whatever. So they got to see your brand 7 different times in 7 different places. And why not advertise in all these different free or paid spaces, you know?
So all those areas that you talked about are at the top of the funnel. That's where we're getting everyone in. Yeah. And it sounds like we want to bring them to a way we can contact them, which could be like the website.
Yeah. So my 2 biggest things for everybody is have an office number, a designated phone number that you answer, and you just got to be perfect with this answer. On the first ring, answer that dang phone. And when you answer the phone, I stole this from Grant Cardone. If any of you want to practice or hear an incredible salesman that makes amazing money and is the best in their industry.
I think he's a billionaire now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call Grant Cardone's office. Act like a customer. Say, hey, I'm interested in a coaching program. Hey, I want to come to an event. Or, hey, I've got some money I want to put into a syndication on one of your real estate projects. And they will blow your mind with how fast they get you information, how fast they answer the phone. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur trying to grow your business, I understand you're probably running it off of your personal phone. You don't have an office phone. There's a free service out there where you can get a cell phone number from Google. It's called Google Voice.
Hoping you'd say that.
Yeah. And it's awesome because then it comes through as a business call and you can say, This is Skylar with
Bright Sky Home Service.
Yeah, home services.
Yeah.
And how can I help you? And so if you call Grant Cardone's office, they're going to say, this is Levi. What can I get you information on? They've always got a notepad and paper in front of them. They always write down every single thing that the person on the phone is saying. So you're grabbing that person, whether it's through your website or through the phone, and holding them tight and giving them all free information. Gary Vee says it's the jab, left hook, where in marketing or in business, you're give, ask for business. And by the time you're on your fourth give, they're already offering their business to you. So on the website, just make it so obvious, but so stupidly obvious and simple what you do, and give them a button to push to submit a request. And then the easier it is for them to swipe their card, the better. Like if you're ever trying to buy something and the scanner is just right there, right in front of your face, and it's a Venmo or something like a tap that's just so easy to pay or swipe, the easier the better. And my process is always contact 3 times before you meet them in person. Now, this is a service-based industry thing for all you guys doing service-based businesses. When you're giving quotes, do it in person. Don't ask for the plans. Just go out there, shake their hand. And before you're meeting with the customer, or before you have your first interaction, talk to them 3 times. And one of those times has to be a video. Send them a video over text. Email is slow. It's not personal. So I'm a big proponent of texting your clients. Make it personal, throw in emojis. Maybe even give them a nickname. I mean, obviously stay professional, but in my experience, people are people, and you're trying to make a friend, and people buy from their friends. You're going to have a hard time selling to people if you're going to be this unfriendly salesman, you know? And so without getting too much into how to close and selling, just send them a link to a video, and that just kind of explains your business, how long you've been in business, because it's so hard to get all the things out to them before they buy, like setting expectations. It's hard to tell them all the value adds that you have for them. No salesman on the planet can remember all of that stuff, like telling them all about the reviews. Oh, don't forget to mention we have a warranty. Oh, don't forget to mention that we use the best product. Don't forget to mention, like, these things no salesman can remember. So have that in your back pocket, good videos and content that you can just text out. Meet with them in person. Every customer must feel like they're getting a discount. If that's your pricing structure, it's something that I truly try to go by, that everybody that's buying from me must feel like they're getting a discount in some way, shape, or form, whether that's perceived or it's truly discounted, or if they're just getting so much value that our prices feels like a discount.
Yeah. So if someone's service is $100 an hour, maybe put it at 150, 200, and say, hey, it's 50% off right now, and charge 100.
Right. And there's creative styles in which you can make that perceive on the quote or on your pricing on your website. Like you can say our base price, like ice baths, for example, if you go on plunge.com, their ice bath's $10,000. But if you get this size, it's $3,000 off. If you get this certain size and without the built-in cooler, it's like $5,000 off. And so you have a base price, but depending on what item you get a discount along with it, instead of making it seem like, oh, wow, I'm paying so much more to get this mid product.
You can also add in like a little, like if you're doing car detailing, you could add in, oh, we're also adding in the free tire shine. We're adding a free air freshener, things like that are very little extra work for you or cost to you, but seem like a big value. So it's like, okay, they're paying full price, but they have all these extra bonuses. So that's like kind of another way to have it perceived as a lot more than what they're paying for.
Right. And that brings us down the funnel into kind of the closing section of the funnel, which we lose a lot of people. And
that's okay. Like not everyone's going to buy.
Right.
Be okay with that.
Yeah. And every customer is not your customer. I like that you said that, because especially in the service industry, like you don't want every customer. I mean, we're not out here trying to please everybody. And if you are, you're going to be chasing your tail and spinning your wheels the rest of your time in business. I think it's so important to pick your customer. In the closing section of that funnel, one of my biggest rules is don't stop following up until you receive 1 or 2 firm no's. I know that I have personally told people like, N-O, get away from me. And then they came back and I told them again, N-O, get away from me. And then they came back again and they sold me and it changed my life. The product was incredible.
What? No way.
Like maybe I'll give an example. Like I'm a big fan of personal development. I go to therapy. And I have this therapist as my friend. And he's like, man, you got to get out of that hour-long therapy session stuff. come to a 7-day intensive. It's in Hawaii and it's $8,000. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, that's a lot of money, first of all, for me, for anyone. Like, that's a lot of money to come out and do therapy in Hawaii for 8 days. It just sounds extra, right? So I told him no. I'm like, dude, quit bugging me. But he's persistent. And just like any salesperson needs to be, he reached back out. And since he's sold on the service, because he knows that it'll change my life, he calls me again, even though I was kind of firm with him the first time. And he says, man, I just really think this will change your life. Come out with us. And I was like, no, man, like, I don't even have the money. And I show him my bank account. And it's like, I mean, he calls me out. He's like, of course you have the money. But I'm like, you want me to be broke, man? And if you were my friend, you wouldn't want me to be broke. And he's like, okay, whatever. I'll reach out in a week. And on the third time, it purely was persistence that got me. And he sold me a service that changed my life. And just like Grant Cardone says in his Sell or Be Sold book, you got to be sold on the product and you got to be sold on what you're selling, no matter what, before you try and go sell it to someone else. Because then you can confidently just call people out and follow up like nobody's business. And it's so impactful, like so huge. And at that point, you're changing people's lives. You're making friends. Like, you're not pesky at that point.
Right. I like that a lot, because really, if you believe in what you're selling, even if it's something simple, handyman work, photography, if you know that what you're doing is impacting people's lives, making it easier, making them less stressed, bringing them more money or whatever it may be, if you believe in that so much and you can see the results bringing people, like, if you're so sold on it, like, people will pick that up. They kind of pick it up in the vibe that you give off. They can tell whether this guy's just trying to make a quick buck or if they like, no, this is going to change your life. Like, you can sense that.
Totally.
So when we look at the funnel, the very beginning, you talked about just making it as wide as possible. And that's just when people really, when they first enter the funnel, they just know we exist, right? Then it sounds like it was offer free value. Mm-hmm. So we need to have a CTA there. So it's call this number, go to this website. Are there any other CTAs you use?
I've used a lot. Sign up for this giveaway. Come pick up this free thing. I was just giving away like epoxy that I didn't need at the office. So I put, come pick up this free epoxy. If you want a little bit of epoxy to start a garage project, come grab it.
See, and that's a great way to give value, because like you're making it so they know you exist, but then, hey, here's this free thing. So they immediately want to go to your website or contact you. And so now you have their contact information.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Right. We've done home shows before. Trade shows are super important to be at. You're probably not going to make a ton of money on the leads that you get there, but your brand is going to be recognizable after doing a few shows. And that builds like so much pizzazz with the community.
How does someone get to one of those?
So you can just Google it. We're a big fan of the home show, the home and garden show. There's 3 every winter. Talk to the community, get on Facebook, ask them what shows you liked, because there's shows that are a scam out there. And we've been scammed for sure. But just getting out in front of people and handing out flyers, giving out candy, just putting your brand in a show where they're going to come recognize you is so important.
Yeah. I never even thought of that before.
Yeah. The good ones are pretty expensive, maybe $2,000 for a 10 by 10 booth. But man, they really get you into the community.
That's awesome. So we have the wide part. They know you exist. Then you offer them value. You get their contact, and then you want to keep reaching out until basically you sell. And you're going to send them a video. You're going to text them. You're going to be personal with them, professional, but personable, right? Mm-hmm. Making friends. Keep reaching out till they sell, right? Is there anything I'm missing there?
So people on average, and this is a study that's been done, people on average close or buy something on the 7th time. And that most of the time happens before 7 days. So I call it the 777. So remember, you got to be reaching out 7 times within the first 7 days of their first reach out. And I try to keep each follow-up completely different and inconspicuous so that it's not obvious of the follow-up. Don't use the F word, follow-up. That is a bad word in a follow-up call.
Hey, I'm just following up to see.
Yeah.
So never say that.
Right. And it's a personal preference. Some people might disagree with me, but if somebody's going to call me, I want them to ask about me and talk about me. Like I want to talk to them about why I want the product. Mm-hmm. I don't want them talking to me why they want me to buy the product, right? And my favorite book in the whole wide world, if you haven't read it, anyone listening, like read this dang book. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it's very old. It's very big, but it is such an awesome book. And the main idea that it's talking about is that people want to talk about themselves. And so if you're ever networking or trying to get into that, like somebody into your circle of influence or trying to make a friend or close a deal, ask them about something they're passionate about, period. And it sounds so silly and so simple, but test it out. Go up to somebody, ask them a very detailed question about something that they are just head over heels passionate about, and they won't shut up. I don't care how introverted they are. Like a car guy, a real car guy, if you ask him about a small detail about his car and how he felt about it, he's going to love you forever.
Yeah.
And so in those 7 follow-ups within this first 7 days, try and make them not seem like a follow-up. Send them a picture of something that you had talked about and said, hey, I thought you would like this. Or since I do epoxy floors, hey, I saw this garage. It's the same color that you and I talked about. I thought that you would like it. Here's a picture of it to add to your inspiration board for this project. And that is a beautiful follow-up to me. Obviously, you want to end the conversation if it's a phone call or a text. End the conversation with a question. Do all the obvious things like create urgency and give them a value add and make them feel like they're getting a discount, but also being their friend and just a genuine person that's interested in their interests is super important.
It sounds like you keep notes on a lot of these people you talk with. So that way, when you keep reaching out, you actually remember what they said and what their problems were, what their objections are. So you keep good notes on that. How do you keep notes?
Thank you for asking that. That's a great question. I learned that the hard way. Let's say at any given moment, you've got 50 people that could possibly buy a floor. How in the world are you going to remember all these awesome friend-like details about people? I mean, this works great for real estate agents. You try to talk to about 50 people a week as a real estate agent, and you try and keep that all detailed. Dale Carnegie, back in the olden days, he's the steel guy. He did a lot of business in steel, and I don't have any details on how much, but he was one of the wealthiest men in America. He basically owned a monopoly on the steel market. They opened up his Rolodex, and on every single page on his Rolodex, which is like a business card organization unit, it had written on the back details about the person's family, details about the person's interests, and details about that person's needs and objections. And every single client that he had or networking partner or anybody that he had in his Rolodex, he had information on them. So I took that example from Dale Carnegie to organize my people, and I got a CRM. I use Jobber. Jobber is, I think it's like $300 a month for the best option. But the cool thing is every customer gets their own client portal. And then on the back end, on my end, I have notes sections, multiple addresses, multiple phone numbers. And the notes are very easy to take, and you can add photos to the notes, and the notes are attached to each customer. So I always write down names of kids because I'm selling bigger ticket items. So I need to know those things almost like a real estate agent would, and look up a good CRM for your discipline. But like, that's kind of how I do it, is a CRM, a really good CRM like Jobber. You're going to pay what seems like a lot, but it just pays for itself in the way it organizes your customers.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's a lot of them will keep track of who you texted, how many calls you've made, when people have reached out to you. You can, keep notes. I was talking to someone a little while ago who was on here about CRMs, and they're a real estate agent. So they can see when people go on Zillow, they can see what houses they looked at, how long they looked at them for, if they favorited the house, and then get notifications on if they're online right now looking at stuff, which would be prime time to, make a phone call, right?
Oh, man.
So yeah, there's some that are pretty sophisticated out there. And even if it's not, like, you still need one just to keep those notes, like just the ability to organize your notes and what level they're in your sales funnel. That's huge. That'll pay for itself, like you were saying.
And then, the obvious one, if anybody knows Brandon Fugel, if you've driven down the freeway, you've seen his name, at least, on the buildings. He's a commercial real estate agent. And the reason I believe why he's the biggest name is that he shows up and he's shown. Just like that, he is it is insane. I think he's from outer space or something, because he can organize and remember who people are, what they want, what they're interested in, and what their passions are like nobody's business. He's a local Utah resident. He's a businessman. He makes crazy money. And I think it's solely on this, what we're talking about. And it's keeping organized notes on people and genuinely being their friend and helping them out, offering insane value to people that are in need of help.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if any of your friends start a business, you're going to buy from them before you buy from anyone else.
Right.
Unless you just cannot afford their price. And so if you make friends with these clients that you have, they're going to kind of feel that way towards you, like, oh, well, I like Levi more than this other company. Levi's actually interested in me and knows what my life's about. He took interest in me, right? If they can consider you a friend, they're not just going to consider buying from you. They will buy from you because you care. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Whoa, I love that.
Yeah, have you heard that? No? Yeah, because once they know that you care and that you're not everyone else just trying to make money, that your heart's in it, then they'll buy from you.
Yeah.
Well, any other last advice you have for people making a sales funnel?
This is like probably the most important part of the sales funnel. Of all the things that I've mentioned on this show, I think the most important part of a sales funnel always is the follow-ups. Once you've got a lead, you've paid good money and worked really hard to get that person into your funnel. And you're doing yourself a massive disservice by not answering your phone or slow to response or having just unprofessional website or anything like that. So just transferring that lead to a customer quickly, effectively, and with a good experience is probably the most important thing as far as the funnels go. And like I said, I've learned a lot from selling this company that I grew for the last 4 years. And that funnel was not flawless, but what I can say is that you don't need to be flawless, because the larger you make the top of your funnel, the more people you get seeing your marketing. And there's one saying, and I can end it with this. There's one saying that's always stuck with me in business, and it's sales solves all problems. And so I don't care if any part of your business is struggling, sales will solve the problem for the Mentrum. It'll get you afloat. It will grow your business, and you will always be okay if you're making sales. And this sales funnel is an absolute hack, because none of us can build a perfect business. No one has to. With a good sales funnel with solid outreach, it's going to automatically and organically grow your business. And if you use the things that I've mentioned as lead generation tools, most of them are free.
Yeah, well, and the only way to get better at sales is to do it. And the more leads you have coming in, the more people that are coming down the sales funnel, the more you can practice selling.
Yeah.
And so have that top part of your funnel as wide as you can, like you said, and sales will solve any problem you have.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, hey, dude, this has been fun. I'm glad you've been here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Totally.
My guest today was Levi Culley. If you want to get in contact with him, reach out to him on Instagram at Levi Culley. He also has a coaching and accountability group you can join. So go check out Pent Hive Academy on Instagram or contact him directly to learn more about that. As always, links are in the show notes. Well, that is it for today's episode. If you like this episode and want to learn more ways to grow your business faster, be sure to subscribe and follow the show so you are notified when new episodes come out. If you've already done that, it would mean the world to me and possibly someone you know if you shared this podcast with them. Word of mouth is the biggest way this podcast grows. As always, it's not just about knowing what to do, it's about taking the required action. Until next time, keep building.